Brandon,
Yes.
do you ever just pretend to not be depressed?
I mean... Yeah?
Anyway, so welcome to yet another fucking movie podcast.
Oh, we're
My
on.
name is Damana.
And my name's Brandon.
This is episode 2.
Episode 2.
We made it through the first one. We would like to thank everybody for their feedback.
People who watched it.
People who listened and watched it. I know you love that static image.
Yeah. I really appreciate people getting through the first 20 seconds. And if you turned it off after or before, completely understandable. We're just happy that you tried.
Yeah, you tried. You tried your best, which is what we're all expecting. But listen, here's some notes we have for the podcast now, episode 2. First of all, thank you to the people who replied to our most important question, which was, is Ready Player One going to be the Black Panther for gamers?
We had more than one reply.
We had one reply in the comments, but I believe I had people reply to me in real life about it. Because we're real journalists, so people come up to us.
Oh, right.
My brother definitely said no. Which is great because, you know, that's pretty normal. I think that's pretty acceptable to say no to that question. And the comment we got was actually very matter of fact.
It was.
Very plainly saying no. That will not happen.
It sounds like how I would answer a question to formulate my own thesis statement in an essay.
Yeah, which is great because we want you to be educated listeners, to be honest. And,
right.
And speaking of my brother, this is very short, but you know we're real journalists, so I'm going to correct something I said in the last podcast.
Our first correction of the series.
First correction of the series, which is that my brother's favorite movie is decidedly not Man from U.N.C.L.E., though he loves that movie and he is an idiot for loving it. His favorite movie is Ocean's 11.
Which is okay.
Which is definitely okay, but it's so funny to me because my brother's favorite movie is a movie in which very attractive men do really cool stuff. And it's my opinion that he wishes he was Brad Pitt, but sadly.
I mean,
he looks like a slightly microwave Brad Pitt.
I mean, that's better than a lot of people out there. You know? I like the guy already. You're just shitting on him.
I'm sorry that the first 2 minutes of this podcast is me shitting on my brother, but you deserve it, you piece of shit. Remember 2001 when you... I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
I love you.
Wow. Love connection on the first 2 minutes and a half of this podcast. This is a mess. Okay, the goal of this podcast, by the way, is that we get through one topic with clear intention. We don't jump around.
Right.
Okay, so...
It's funny you mentioned Ocean's 11, though.
Okay.
Because Steven Soderbergh directed those?
Yes.
I read an article last night where Steven Soderbergh praises Steven Spielberg for his work in Ready Player One. And I mean...
Why?
It's not praising the movie per se. It's more praising Spielberg's ability to block in movies. And I was like, you know what?
That's not dedicated to Ready Player One, though.
I mean, it's like applying a skill you've learned for over 2 decades.
Oh,
to a movie that's shit.
What praise? But I think he actually meant like block, like video game block, because you know Steven Spielberg is the greatest gamer of all time.
Oh, of course. Yo, he was on that Centipede grind back in those arcade days.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Spielberg, if you're listening to this right now,
please call us.
I want you to send me your best Centipede score and I'll show you mine.
Yeah, and then let's play Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot?
Can you make the Crash Bandicoot movie? Okay, we're already off topic.
Right.
I love our podcast, aka our fucking disordinated mind just going wild. Listen, we're gonna get to the point really quick, I promise, but... in all seriousness, thank you for everyone who listened to the podcast because, in all honesty, I'll say I did not expect it to do well. I thought it would just be us and a few friends.
Yeah.
So I'm really pleasantly surprised that people are supporting us for this. I think we said it, even if people don't support us, we're still going to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is just literally our thing now, so over time when you guys start hating the podcast, we'll still continue.
I mean, until our brains run out of fuel.
Yeah, which is probably very soon.
That'll give us 4 episodes.
I'm very depressed. Okay, so we're doing the Tomb Raider review. I'm getting right into the topic because Brandon and I have some strong opinions about it. He's looking at me like he wants to die, so that gives me enough readiness for the review. But I would like to start with, actually, I said it was going to be 3 headlines that I'm going to throw at Brandon, but I just want to start with the one that I thought was the funniest, and it was from...
What are these headlines regarding?
These are reviews of Tomb Raider.
Oh, wow, okay.
Okay, so if you've seen the tomato score for this shit, it's probably hovering at 50. I don't expect it to be more.
50?
Yeah.
That's gratuitous.
That... Don't get me... Okay. Listen, we saw it, and also, because I am a real fucking journalist, I played the video game.
So, you had some, like, samples.
Yeah.
Of what it could have been.
And I'm real mad.
Okay.
I'm a mad person because the video game is fucking amazing.
Right. I've heard lots of critical acclaim.
It is, and there's a sequel that I'm gonna probably play after I finish this because I am 16.
Already?
I'm 16 hours into this game and I'm only 50% through.
Holy shit.
This game is amazing.
There's already a sequel though?
There was a sequel that came out in 2016, and there's.
Sorry, my roommate just got in.
Brandon's roommate just ruined the podcast, everybody. So...
No, he probably just came back from fighting trees, so
yeah,
that's okay.
He fights trees for a living. Maybe he has an opinion on Tomb Raider, because she also fights trees at some point.
That's a good point.
We're not going to get him to comment.
Derek, what are your distant opinions on Tomb Raider?
He's just shaking his head. I don't think he's a fan of
that's a very indicative review of what Tomb Raider is.
Because maybe he is the tree raider.
Oh, shit.
That's Brandon high-fiving me.
Nope, ladies and gentlemen, that was Demona doing a self-five.
Okay, so this is my favorite headline for the Tomb Raider.
Oh, right, back to the headline.
And we're getting back to track. We'll get through it, guys. Someone said that, this is from GameSpot, I believe. They said, Tomb Raider is not terrible, but it would have been a lot more fun if it was.
Wow. That's a... Can I just, like, wrap up the podcast? Like, I can... Like, you don't even need me. You need that guy.
Yeah, we need to get that guy on. But here's my thing, is that he...
Holy shit, that's a perfect headline.
He summarized exactly what this movie is, basically, is that... I think... Okay, so let's... first of all, because we're going to be diligent podcasters, I'm going to just give a short synopsis of what the movie says it is. Basically, Tomb Raider is about Lara Croft, who is a young girl living in London, short on cash, but loves to fight, and she's very adventurous. Off the bat, you get the feeling that she's cool as fuck. She goes on a search to find her father after she finds a bunch of his secret research on an island called Yamatai and an evil queen, and then she goes off to do the adventure. That's basically the movie. Premise? How do you feel about the premise?
Wow, really? Like, we've seen it. It's been about a week now.
Yes.
And even then, I don't know how to feel about the premise.
Here's my thing, is I'll compare. The video game and the movie have a very distinct difference in that...
Oh, is the premises the same?
It is close to the same premise, but the problem I have is the video game explicitly tells you that Lara Croft is an archaeologist. That she is a person who has studied this and has spent time and is going to this island not to find her father. Literally the entire video game, and this is my biggest problem, is the video game makes it clear that her dad is dead.
Okay.
That's not the point of the video game.
Got it.
The video game is completely, like, immersed in the mystery of the island. The movie, however, punches you in the face about every 5 minutes to tell you that Lara loves her dad.
Right.
And it's a giant crutch to me.
With a lot of flashbacks.
The worst. I think this is kind of the worst experience of me for flashbacks I've had. Can you, like...
I have my opinions about flashbacks in movies, and I feel like...
Okay, what is your opinion on flashback in the movie? In the movie, explain how they use a flashback in the movie.
They don't really flashback to important things. They just flash back to the exact same scene, but from different camera angles. And it's just like extending how much she loves her dad.
Yes.
But there's a scene in the movie where you can already tell how much she loves her father without the flashbacks.
Yes.
And that's when she loves, like, she fights and everything, but she can't afford to continue her membership because she doesn't have any money.
Yes.
But her father was rich, and she is poor by choice.
Yes.
She could take the inheritance, but she chooses not to because that would be claiming that her father is dead. So that alone, that action, shows her as someone who loves her dad and all that garbage.
Like, loves him enough to refuse literally the entire... To refuse the idea that he's dead. Like, even that is enough for you to just prove to me, oh, she definitely, first of all, hasn't moved on. That's enough to say. They keep fucking flashbacking to her hanging out with her dad to prove that she hasn't moved on. She definitely hasn't. And the fact that she clearly goes to the island to find her dad. Like, there's no other reason for why she would go.
He's talking about, like, in his research, he's talking about the end of the world might happen if people find what's going on this island.
Yeah. And her whole sole reason, she even says it. Like, the movie, I think, makes a huge mistake of centering the whole thing around finding her dad, because the much more interesting plot is her saving the world, right?
She saves the world by accident.
Which is...
is what happens. She saves the world by accident. She shows up on the island.
So there's no stakes. I'm just going to say this right
now. There
now.
are no stakes. Literally, the whole movie could have ended at, like, the halfway mark.
When she finds her dad, who looks like creepy Jesus mixed with Dracula.
He's Robinson Crusoe at this point. So, if she decided to, like, have proper counseling and learn how to grieve properly and move on in life and have all these wonderful tools that everybody should apply in their everyday lives, because it's better to move on than to dwell on some things, which she should have done, and if she did, this movie would have never happened.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad to consider that if you just got canceling, your movie would not happen. I feel like that's a crutch in the script.
Yeah.
But a part of that, so the main issue that we start with is that there's a lot of issues with what the fucking plot is. The plot revolves around a very stupid idea. Like, it's just a dumb idea in general.
Mm-hmm.
The video game, in contrast, she arrives at the island, and this is my biggest gripe with this, she has an entire crew with her.
When she arrives on the island.
Yes.
In the video game.
In the video game, it's her, a nerd dude. Literally, his name is Alex, but he's basically the nerd guy. He's the computer person.
He's, like, nicknamed Data, or, like...
Here's how nerdy he is. He has a t-shirt with the escape button on it. Like, it's just a graphic of the escape button on the keyboard.
Did someone punch him in the shirt at one point?
I wish. I just kept trying. The game just wouldn't let me.
Damn.
It has an amazing drunk Scottish ship captain.
Cool.
Who beats people up just the entire time.
Nice.
Has an amazing team leader who is an army dude and acts as Laura's father figure and teaches her how to survive. And a creepy archaeologist guy who, in the movie, you could argue that there is a creepy archaeologist guy. He just works for a mysterious company, and he's the villain of the thing. And her friend Sam, who, in the video game, makes a much more interesting premise. Her friend Sam thinks she's in the bloodline of the queen. Okay? And then Lara, the entire game, tells her, you're kind of crazy for thinking that you have the bloodline of the Queen of Yamatai. But the game also tells you, in like little hints here and there, is this true? Could this be true? Could she have her powers? And it's a mystery, because you don't know if she's crazy or if it's actually like a real thing.
That's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. And if you think about it, if you make a movie of that, it would be an amazing thing to have a crew with Lara, because then you'd have her playing off of other people other than this we're going to get into, other than Daniel Wu, who's an amazing character, right?
No.
No?
He's not an amazing character.
I loved him. I wish we both said to each other, why can't there be a Daniel Wu movie?
It's different. He's not an amazing character, but he was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, you're right. I take that back. He is the best part of the movie. So explain who Daniel Wu plays. What is he? Who is he in the movie?
Alright, so to explain properly who he is...
Yeah. Well, that scene where they meet, man. Oh! It's a great sequence.
So, Lara's dad goes missing for what, 7 years?
7 years.
All that time she didn't claim his inheritance.
No, she's doing boxing.
Getting her ass kicked,
Yeah.
but doesn't have any bruises to show. Anyway.
She's also weirdly tan, but we're not going to talk about that.
Right,
yes.
right. So, as the movie progresses, you discover, we discover, along with Lara, that he commissioned this ship captain over in...
A known Asian country. Definitely poor.
Right. Well, the area in which it was shot, definitely poor.
Yes.
And she finds that letter where he asks that guy how much it would cost.
By the way, it's an email that's printed. I love those plots. Who prints an email?
It's like more out of touch than Ice-T asking for someone to fax them a link. In that one gamer episode of Law & Order SVU. But anyway. So she finds that email, and she's like, I need to find this guy. Even though the entire time while I watched that scene was, what if the dude's just not there anymore? It's been 7 fucking years.
And also, you make the link in your head that if he commissioned the captain to take him to someplace, the captain went with him.
Right.
Why does she think the captain came back?
Like, it just wouldn't make any sense.
Anyway.
I mean, it makes, like, slight amount of sense.
Enough for a video game adaptation of a movie.
Enough for her to, like, pawn, like, a very precious necklace. No, I take that back. Daniel Wu's not my favorite character in the movie. It's goddamn Nick Frost.
It's Nick Frost.
It's Nick Frost.
Okay, so first, before we get into Nick Frost, we're spoiling the movie, and I'm going to say spoiling with quotes around it, because I believe spoiling should only be applied to movies where plot matters.
Fun fact, if you do watch the movie, you will spoil it for yourself.
If you watch the trailer, you will see what the plot is. You don't need to, like...
Watching the movie is the equivalent of, like, walking down a very long hallway, but at the end of it, there's a stool with a glass of milk on it, but the closer and closer you get to the glass of milk, which is going to be, 2 hours?
2 hours, I think.
It's a 2-hour-long walk's worth of a hallway, but the closer you get, the more you realize the milk was already spoiled from when you even started walking through the hallway. Alright?
Brandon's dropping some truth here.
Okay.
That's wild.
So, anyway, she finds this dude, she gets, just to prove how poor this place is, she's getting help to try and find where this boat is, and these wonderful young Asian men help her out.
Youngsters, a couple of youngsters.
Only to steal her bag, and it involves the second long chase scene of the movie.
It's the most unnecessary bullshit in the entire movie.
She gets her bag back. They wield a knife on her.
Before they wield a knife on her and we get all the East Asian poor country stereotypes, she flips over like 15 different things and like literally does master parkour. And at no point in this movie do you believe that.
No, not at all.
Until she gets to the forest where she like scrambles. Before that, when she fights and like scrambles and does all the shit, you do not believe it. It's not believable.
Not at all.
Okay, so we get to that. Yeah, so they pull a knife on her.
It's a mild pause in the chase. And then the chase resumes. And she sees...
For no reason.
She looks up and she sees the name of the boat that she's been looking for the whole time. And she gets on the boat, but they have her cornered.
Yeah.
And... out of nowhere, a drunk man comes out yelling, wielding a shotgun, fires a round off into the air, tells these young men to leave the woman alone, and she's trying to clarify that she's not with them because she needs this guy's help, and before he can answer her, he drunkenly falls off the
top part of the deck?
The cockpit? It's not, that's for planes, but...
We're definitely ship connoisseurs, so don't rag us on that, okay?
So on a ship, you go up a ladder, and there's the captain's quarters,
where the pirates do the thing.
Right, where the pirates do the thing is where he falls off.
Yeah, so then this is, I believe, a comedy moment for this movie.
But it's, like, not funny. But at that very same moment, Demana turns to me in the theater and says, I love him already.
Which I do.
I mean, it was about 5 minutes after that scene that you said, I wish they made a movie just on his character.
Because listen to me. Why is he having way more interesting characteristics than the main fucking hero? He has a back... First of all, I don't know why they had to be real fucking shady about what his backstory was. They decided to make a good backstory on him only. Like,
right.
Never saying exactly what it is. You assume everything through clues. He's
got gambling problems. He drinks.
There's a photo of him with his dad, clearly on the boat.
Oh, by the way, it's his father who takes Lara's father to the island.
Yes, so again with the fucking father figures, I don't get it.
So that implies that we were both right. They didn't come back, because logically that wouldn't have made any sense. It's just that they have the same name. Alright, he gave his son the exact same name.
It's really weird how to justify that.
I feel like they had a meeting with writers, and they're like, so how do we fix this moment? Like, how can we tell, like, how does it all culminate to her going to the island? Like, how does it, what's the payoff of her going all the way there for someone who isn't there?
Yeah.
Oh, we just have the same name, it's cool.
Yeah, because that's how names work in poor Asian countries.
This is like workshopping a script with, like, fucking the 7 writers of The Incredible Hulk starring Edward Norton.
Edward Norton needs some credit for trying his best.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, is that from this point on, I will argue that the movie has its highest points.
Okay.
Because it gets from that hullabaloo where we have to care about these people, but we don't, into her being on a ship trying to do archaeologist things, even though she's not an archaeologist. It's never mentioned why she would know how to do puzzles, other than her dad had puzzles anyway. So they get into that, and it gets into, I swear to God, shot for shot from the video game. The storm, shot for shot, the beginning of the video game.
Really?
And it's some of the best stuff, because it's clearly all CGI bullshit or whatever, where the storm is happening, everything's flipping around, except the video game starts off with that, which means it's a good starting point, because it's action, okay? The movie straight from there goes into just her getting kidnapped by the bad people. The name of the company, I don't give a shit. I know Trinidad and Tobago, Nicki Minaj, I don't know. Trinity. We get into that shit immediately. And then the movie, the plot doesn't matter at that point because you know what's going to happen. Then the movie goes from action to action to action. I don't think you get a point to breathe, right?
Not really, no.
And that's, I think, I'm going to argue that Lara Croft has an incredibly awful beginning, incredibly awful ending, but the middle gives its best attempt because it has action that's actually fun to watch.
Sure.
I'll
give you that.
But the action is what I'm going to say is shot for shot from the video game. The boat scenes from the video game, when she goes to the waterfall, from the video game. That is exactly what happens in the video game.
Really?
Yes.
That's just pathetic.
And you realize that this movie knew what the video game is about, because the video game is very much like, you fight a little, then the fight ends, you explore stuff, and then Lara gets in these situations where she has to cross a waterfall or whatever, because she has to get to the other side and there's no other way. And you get these QTE events where you have to press A when she hangs off of something and all this stuff.
Okay.
The movie got those moments and said, okay, that's exciting, that's fun, she's on the edge of death, whatever, so let's do those. But that's the only good part of the movie. And I swear to God that the waterfall scene, when I did in the video game, I was like, wow, this is very fun. I understand why this got this, but we're gonna have to talk about the surrounding shit about this, because the action, there's not much to comment on. The villain, okay, so tell me what you thought when they introduced the villain.
Matthias Vogel is his name?
Yeah, Matthias Volvo. So Laura wakes up in a tent because she got kidnapped by Trinity, and you get introduced to Matthias. Please tell me your first impression of Matthias with his wonderful monologue about how lonely he is.
Wow. There was a subreddit I was reading this morning. And I completely forget its name right now.
Okay.
But they're talking about creepy people, or like very creepy situations.
And Matthew was the cover of the Reddit.
And like lots of it involves like, there's this really creepy dude who was like dance waltzing in the middle of the night, and he just started sprinting towards me at one point, and I just ran for my life. Is one of the stories.
Okay. I see where you're going with this.
He is the person I would put as every crazy person in these creepy stories.
Which sucks because when you describe it like that, it literally reads... The character is literally villain 101. He's like a Dickensian fucking just old-ass villain that hits all the points right. Lonely and creepy. Weirdly aggressive. Very obsessive about what he wants. Not a very polite, but in a threatening way.
Right.
He hits all of the typical villain points, and yet he still manages to be a pathetic little man to me.
Yeah. He never really commands the force that, I don't know, a proper villain would have.
Did you notice, so when they introduce him, the entire shot is him, it's like here, when he's talking, and it's like him sweating.
Oh, it's like a super, like really, really super close-up.
Of him just, like, delivering these cheesy-ass lines of, like, I've been here for 7 years, and all I talk to is this walkie-talkie. And you're just sitting there like, what? Stop! Get him away from me!
But it also makes him sound so powerless as a villain.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's at the mercy of a fucking walkie-talkie.
he just literally... And I love... Okay, so this is the moment where he talks about all this shit. He's been there for 7 years. And this is what kills me, is that he mentions that he's there for his family. Did you believe at any point that this is a family man?
Not at all.
And if he was, you need to get the fuck out of there.
Well, if you think about it, though...
What, he's like a loving dad that will do anything for his family?
Absolutely not.
That's...
Absolutely. Well, I don't know, actually.
But like in a serial killer way, not in a nice, I love my family way. I don't believe for a second that
Again, I couldn't say with certainty. And that's the issue with the character development. At the end of the movie, you should be able to, with certainty, say what this person's motives are and why. He through expository conversation and monologues that many villains do, he reveals that he's there for his family. When you think about it, like, he hasn't been off the island for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't had contact with his family, supposedly.
Yes.
From what we know.
Yeah. He's there against his will also. He says he's there against his will.
Wouldn't that drive someone insane? Like, I'd probably go fucking crazy.
Okay.
You know,
I see what you mean, yeah.
I would probably start, like, doing weird, super close-up monologues and watching people while they sleep. You know?
And murder people for no reason.
Absolutely.
Because nothing matters anymore.
Absolutely. But you see,
but then
there should be that point where, at the 3/4 marks of the movie, that you realize, oh, that's why the villain is doing so-and-so.
Yes.
It shouldn't be ambiguous, which it still is. And the more I think about this movie, the more ambiguous it gets.
Yes.
It's just one big Rorschach test for 2 hours.
Fantastic Watchmen character.
Oh, God.
I completely agree with that. And also, it would have been great. A way to fix, I think, would be if they literally go to the point where he's insane. You know what I mean? Just commit to the insane.
Right.
Because then at the end of the movie, you would be like, I don't feel sympathy for him because of his family. I feel sympathy because he's a pathetic, insane man.
Right.
And I feel bad for him because it feels like he's there against his will, and the direct, result of that is that he's gone insane over searching for this tomb. And at the end of the day, the only reason he wants to kill Lara, kill all these people on the island from stopping him to get to his goal is because he's just unhinged.
Right.
The movie suggests that throughout the whole movie. You're thinking he's insane because he does the general villain thing where he kills somebody because they're not efficient enough.
Just to show how ruthless he is.
But then he insists that they don't kill Lara's sidekick because she might come back for him, which is...
So what happens is that she wakes up and it was a shipwreck and everything. So she wakes up in this creepy dude's tent.
Yeah.
And bam, she walks out and Daniel Wu is there. He's there working in the line, you know.
Because they're excavating for a tomb. They're looking for the tomb of the cursed queen.
Right, and my guess is that the reason why they shared a glance and nothing more, why they didn't acknowledge each other vocally, was to not give away the fact that they know each other.
Yes.
Right? That would
be the smart thing to do.
Which is what they do in the movie. So, as if I was one of the henchmen, I wouldn't assume that they were friends.
Yeah, no.
Because they don't show that they are. So anyway, there's this older man who's in the line, and he falls over because he's sick and old, and Daniel Wu is trying to help him out. And he's like, this guy needs help. And instead they just shoot him.
Yeah.
They shoot the old man and he dies.
Yeah.
Just to show the ruthlessness of the villain, which is what they do in the beginning, blah, 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 whatever. 2 minutes later, like, Daniel does some shit that, like, ruins their plan.
Completely. He takes a rifle, too.
He also slams one of the henchmen in the face with a shovel.
Completely.
Helps Lara escape.
Yells at her, go, like, leave. That's when she leaves.
Yeah, but go doesn't imply that they know each other either.
Here's the thing. I think they thought that was what it was. I think the writers of this thought that that would be enough for the villain to...
Assume that they were friends?
Assume that they're plotting against him.
Because if he just shot someone in cold blood 2 minutes ago, what's stopping him from shooting this dude? Yeah, you shot a dude for being sick. You're not going to shoot a guy for hitting another dude in the face with a shovel?
And ruining your excavation plan, which is your entire reason for being there.
What in the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's very weird. I feel, and they also, because he shoots Daniel Wu in the shoulder or something just to injure him.
Right.
And Daniel Wu gets, at that point, just leaves the scene.
Okay.
Just leave stage right. We don't see him until the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Yep.
So, and then at that point he says, the villain, Volvo says, don't kill him. Don't kill him. We might need him later or something. And I feel like there was a scene missing. There was something missing between that and then the connection of her leaving and whatever. Because then after that he says, don't kill him. We might need him later. And then sends one of his best henchmen to go find Lara. I feel like there was something missing for me to fucking care about what just happened.
At the very least, when Daniel tells her to go, you just cut to Volvo looking at him and looking at her, and that's all you need.
But
it's a stretch. That's all you need.
Yeah, you don't do... No, instead there's another fucking fight scene for another 2 to 3 minutes because...
Oh, hold on a second. Oh, go on. Sorry, finish that point.
And there's another fucking fight scene. This movie very much insists that this is Indiana Jones, but it fails to be good. So this movie very much wants you to believe that this is an adventure at every step of the way.
Right.
Even though the stakes are literally Lara has to go to another corner of the fucking island.
Stakes are null.
There's literally 0 stakes. They're not fat. They're not juicy. There's nothing left in those stakes.
Nothing.
What did you want to say?
You were saying how Vogel is portrayed to being unhinged towards the end, as we proceed in the movie, right?
A little bit, but not enough for you to completely believe it. Because he still goes on about, at the end of the movie is him screaming, we could both go back to our families.
Right.
Which, at that point, I don't believe about Vogel, but that's...
So we are led to believe that.
Yes.
Like, he's a little crazy.
Yes.
Been on the island for 7 years. Spoiler, towards the end of the movie, on the walkie-talkie, they entered the tomb. Well, they don't enter the tomb on the walkie-talkie. They enter the tomb, and he goes to the walkie-talkie, and he says, we've entered, bring a helicopter so he can finally get off that gosh darned island. He has a lot of weapons. He has a lot of henchmen.
He could have rebelled.
Yes. I just thought about that. He could have just called the 2 dudes. He should have just called on the walkie-talkie.
Okay.
Because the helicopter shows up, and at the end of the movie, they're held at gunpoint by Lara and Daniel Wu and all these rebels.
Rebels without a cause, literally.
We're gonna get to the point that you're laughing at, because I know what you're laughing at.
Everyone's pointing a gun at them, except Lara, who points a fucking bow and arrow at them.
At a metal helicopter.
Bitch! you're not gonna do anything to it.
The only reason these guys have their hands up is because they have guns pointed at them. All I'm saying is that
If it was just Laura.
if those two dudes showed up on the island unarmed, that means Vogel and his men could have plotted a rebellion over the last 7 years to get themselves off the island.
See, this is when the movie's ending is a crux to that. Because it turns out, you know who's behind the whole operation, guys? You know who's behind Trinity? And they have people everywhere. They're basically the Illuminati. And they have fingers everywhere. So the movie suggests that he couldn't escape Brandon because guess what? Trinity would have gotten their fingers on him, put him right back in there. And you know what would have been a good idea? Is to show him maybe trying to leave and then being brought back.
Or just dying.
Or just, yeah.
Like, all I'm saying is that if you really care...
Or him bailing on the operation when he realizes that it's not going to happen.
Right.
And going out and saying, we got it, let's leave. The helicopter realizing he doesn't have it. And then him being assassinated or murdered.
All I'm saying is that if he really cared for his family the way the movie implied he did...
Which is...
They would have found... Like, at the very least, he would have rebelled at one point.
Yes. Which brings us to the point of the character that the whole movie is basically... The movie happens, the plot happens because of him. Laura's dad.
Uh-huh. The Mentalist.
I love The Mentalist.
He's there.
He kind of looks like a dude named The Mentalist in this movie. Like his name, his card, his card says The Mentalist, and that's what he looks like.
It's Survivor, The Mentalist.
Yeah, he just needs a volleyball with a face on it.
Pretty much.
And we would have gotten what we wanted out of it. The whole movie revolves around Laura's dad because he's such an important person, such a good dad. The only reason you know he's a good dad is because of the flashbacks. And then there's a hint of a good characterization when he sees Laura. First of all, Laura kills her first person and has a meltdown and squeals like a little pig, and Brandon got uncomfortable about it.
I mean, Angelina Jolie doesn't do that. She's tough the entire movie. Yeah, sure, it's cheesy.
Alicia Vikander kind of cries the whole time.
The first two movies are a little cheesy. But at least she's... Oh.
I choked on my tea.
I could have just continued talking, but I feel like those 10 seconds were necessary.
Guys, if I died during a Tomb Raider review, I hope you fucking kill Alicia Vikander.
I'll just take down everybody who made the production.
Yeah, just kill Trinity.
That'd make a better movie. But
okay. Yes?
What the fuck was I talking about?
You're talking about the dad. Oh no, you're talking about how Alicia Vikander squeals.
Oh right, Angelina Jolie is tough. You know, she represents what Lara Croft is in the video games. You know, she's cunning, she's smart, she's resilient, she's endurant, and god damn it, she could beat the shit out of some people.
Yes. Also looks intimidating.
Yes.
I would say.
Alicia Vikander, the entire movie, like, even when she's choking a dude out, she's like, but she's not like, I don't think she cries after he dies. The entire time she's squealing while he's like squirming.
It would be really funny if Laura gives eulogies to every person she kills. It would take forever to finish that.
All I'm saying is that for everything, like she's jumping across the Grand Chasm and she's squealing. It's just not.
Yeah. Okay. So in my defense, not any defense, but in the video game, she is very scared all the time. But the actress who plays her, forgot her first name, but her last name is Liddington. She's a fucking classy ass bitch. The actress who plays her plays Laura as a scared person because Laura has no fucking idea what she's doing. And the entire time, she's not squealing. She's just breathing really hard because she has to run through hills and shit.
Right.
So you feel the adrenaline through her.
Right.
She's not crying after, she's just, yeah. You're right, though. Alicia Vikander needed to, tone it down a little bit.
It probably wasn't even her. The director said, how can we portray a
distress.
Right. How can we make her feel more like a relatable character?
And Alicia did the pig noise, and he was like...
Pretty much.
Girl, what did you just do? Can you do that again? Yeah, she's upset at everything. The whole movie, she's upset. She's not. I don't think Laura is ever feeling relieved about anything during the entire movie, or
not at all.
Which you kind of need to feel like there's a progression.
Yeah.
But getting back to
there is no arc.
Yeah, the arc is like a flat line.
Pretty much.
Yeah. She sprints through it. She just goes.
Yeah.
So she gets her dad. She kills her first guy. She makes those weird noises. She cries a lot. But then her dad sees her do that, which is the weirdest part of this movie. Is that her dad sees her choke out a guy. And he thinks it's a hallucination. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
What is her dad on? Because you hear rustling of leaves, and Laura's ready to choke another guy while she's crying, and you think, oh fuck, it's not gonna happen again, is it? Her dad, and her dad has been on the island 7 years as well. And here's my question: is, do you feel like her dad was kind of better developed as a kind of crazy person than the villain?
Yes, because he's a protagonist. They should have been the equal amount. They should have been an equal amount of crazy because they both love their families so much. Apparently.
I just love my family so much!
But clearly the mentalist loved his
family
daughter more.
Yeah.
Which shows on how crazy he is.
And it's kind of comedic, but not in a good way. It's kind of funny because when you see him, he, like, does proper, like, crazy man who's, like, shipwrecked, has a beard and shit.
He has, like, wild eyes for the first, like, 5 minutes of his
it's
introduction.
It's really funny, like...
Because everything she says, he just turns around, his eyes are wide. And
yeah, he looks like a scared animal the whole time. And then the only reason he realizes she's not a hallucination is she talks to him. Which I don't think that's how hallucinations work.
Well, I mean... She does talk to him, and he says, you're not real, you're a hallucination, blah, blah, blah. But I think she just stays longer than any hallucination he's ever seen.
Okay. And then she's like, Dad, it's me. Do you remember? Oh, fuck. Okay. Let's get to the symbolism, not symbol, maybe themes.
God.
There's a big theme about loving your dad, which Brandon and I cannot relate to.
Yikes.
And, the whole thing is about how him and Laura have a specific way of, like, doing a kiss on the forehead. And it's the Hunger Games thing.
I was thinking that the entire time.
I would just like to say there's not a trace of it in the video game. It's never mentioned. That doesn't exist. It's a weird thing to add in. But he doesn't kiss her on the forehead. He kisses his 2 fingers, does the fucking Hunger Games shit, and puts it on her forehead. That's the real love that they show. Is that they have a weird kiss.
Yeah.
So they do that. The dad is suddenly not insane anymore.
Right. Yeah.
No one in this movie is consistent, except Daniel Wu. No one in this movie.
No, he's not. His alcoholism and his okay, well...
Okay, wait. Before we promise we'll kill on one shot. So the dad gets, immediately is not insane anymore. It explains to Laura that she shouldn't have come, and he hates her for it. That's what you're supposed to get from that scene is she's mad at him for being insane. He's mad at her for being there.
Right.
It's like a fucking Seinfeld episode. Everyone's just fucking like angry at each other. If there was a phone in this movie, everything would have been fixed. I don't know.
Pretty much, yeah.
So he explains to her that he has been hidden for 7 years. Volvo thinks he's dead. Everyone thinks he's dead. He lives in this cave.
Yeah.
And it's not possible. They live on a tiny, tiny island.
Right.
It's not possible for Vogel to never have seen him because they show in the movie that the dad has been in a cave but fishing, finding food, living off of something. There's no way for the dad to live in this island with Vogel. It's like having a neighbor you hate but never seeing them. It's not happening. That's not real.
No, absolutely not.
So you're supposed to believe that everyone thinks he's dead. And flash forward to Vogel seeing the dad. Is there any surprise on his face?
Not really, no.
Which you would want, because then Vogel would get angrier, no?
Naturally.
But no, the villain apparently just knows everything but nothing at the same time. Schrodinger's villain, so we got that going on. So he's going on there. The dad is insane for no reason. He's not insane anymore. And then the pinnacle of comedy in this movie, for some reason, is the dad approaching the tomb when they find it, crazy-eyed and looking at the stones because it looks like Jesus trying to like find where he is.
Pretty much.
It's a back shot of the dad in some strange fucking robe going like... and like
he's shuffling with like a hand axe.
He looks like a...
Like, Lara has like a refined weapon. She has a bow and arrow, and she's running through the woods with that. Nope, her dad shows up wielding a hatchet.
He looks like a bugged Skyrim guard. Like, he would be clipping through the stones if he could. It's the worst fucking thing.
Like, he looks like when you try to do a Dark Souls naked challenge. You know? Which is kind of funny and relatable in a way.
But here's the issue, is that the plot then goes into Lara losing respect for her dad. Would you agree with that? Lara just realizing she's not going to get her dad off the island? Is that where the plot goes? Because the moment she meets her dad back, she realizes he's alive. She says, we're getting out of here. But her dad says, no, we're not, because otherwise Volvo's going to ruin the universe. Right. Lara explicitly says, I don't agree, I think you're insane. Why does she agree with him at some point? Because she goes back. She decides to go back.
Well, when Vogel sees him, you know, brandishing his axe and whatnot,
being a hero.
He holds him at gunpoint.
Oh, okay.
But Lara.
But Lara, here's the thing: is that at that point you would expect Lara to be like. You can't have a scene where Lara's disappointed in him, thinks he's insane, and then after that, when he brandishes the gun on his dad, when Volgol is like, "I'm gonna kill your dad," like if you don't help me get into this tomb, or whatever. There should, I don't know. There's no way to describe how Lara suddenly gives so much shit about it. Like, she just... Why does she give so much of a shit about it? Like, there's something going on in this movie where halfway through the movie, the writer said, fuck, we didn't finish the script. Can you explain to me how they get into tomb, the motivations behind it, and can you tie up all of these loose ends?
Well, if she didn't do it, they'd kill him. Her father. And that's it. That's the only...
That's so boring.
Well, yeah.
That's so boring. Whoever wrote the Tomb Raider movie, you're a boring person.
There's probably multiple people.
Fuck you guys, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because here's my thing, is that I'm not done with the game yet, so don't fucking spoil it for me, you assholes. But here's what happens, is the video game makes a bunch of different turns on whether or not this is a real queen that kills people or not. And the game, at least like a halfway through, goes full on mythical with it. Just like there's undead samurai soldiers, there's cannibalism, everyone on the island is insane, and this very well might be just a real curse that's happening on the island.
That's pretty cool.
It's super cool. It would make a great movie because then you'd have so many different things happening at once that would culminate in one thing. Here's the problem, is the movie insists on everything being about the dads, and the dads are the most boring characters in the entire movie.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not a major character, then you don't have any proper character development, and that's a stretch because Lara doesn't have any. But
we'll get to the beginning of the movie because that's considered character development.
Whose other father has gone missing? You're right, our homeboy Daniel Wu. Daniel Wu's dad's been missing, but the only
oh my god, that's right, they do a throwaway line about it.
We get a payoff, and the payoff is, yeah, they shot my dad. He's dead.
His dad was one of the unnamed Asian people who got captured. And that's the payoff we get of his dad.
Well, not unnamed, they have the same name, so...
Oh, fuck, I'm sorry. Honor the ancestry and stuff like that.
How could you miss that?
Yeah. And the reaction of Lara is literally her going, oh, fuck, I'm sorry.
And that's it.
And then she runs away and she saves her dad.
Well, I'm gonna go see my dad. Okay, bye.
I'm gonna go fulfill my plot point, so I'm gonna have to go real quick.
Fuck you.
So the big... Okay, so we're getting close to explaining the end of the movie, because when the dad goes out in his fucking Skyrim uniform, gets his +5 strength axe, Brand just dropped something, he's an idiot, gets his +5 strength axe, goes to axe the tomb. We get all that, we get that fucking, he's hoping to crit strike it to open it, but they're like, doing this whole thing, they get in the tomb. The big mystery, I think it was, the whole movie you're supposed to wonder, is she real? Is the queen real? Is she not? Because the monologue of the movie that begins with is the queen is an undead queen that kills everybody who touches her, and that they sealed her away because she's evil. Right? And you're supposed to wonder the entire movie, is she really alive in like a bad person or is she just a myth? And the movie makes a really bad idea of putting the main villain and the dad as two different points. The villain thinks it's not true because
No one does, actually. No one believes that it's true.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Everyone else, but the dad is supposed to be that little thing in your head that goes, that might be true, but then the dad is insane. So explain to me why I'm supposed to have a doubt in my head that she's actually real.
So...
Because I think that's the twist of the movie. I truly believe that this movie thinks that there's a twist in it.
The twist would have been, for me, if it was real.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That would have been the twist that I wanted.
That's exactly what I wanted too, and I think that's where the game is headed.
It wouldn't have saved the movie.
But it would have made it a little bit better.
Yeah, at the very least.
But no, we're not spoiling anything because you know where this is headed. The entire time you're wondering, and you know this movie's not going to deliver to anything cool. This is how I would describe it. Tomb Raider is incredibly uncool. It is an uncool movie. It's made by middle-aged men who think that rollerblades are still cool.
Yikes.
It's nothing in it is cool at all. They think it's just, everything that's cool about it is taken from the video game. So here's the problem. Then they get the movie, it turns out it's all a fucking lie. She came there, the queen went there on her own. She didn't want to get fucked. First of all, before they get to the queen, they have an entire, Indiana Jones trials thing.
We're just fitting colored stones into holes.
The entire is
the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
The entire drama of the trials is the floor is falling apart, but the edges are still there.
Right.
So if you didn't have to have a timer of the floor falling apart to fit the stones in, because if you have people there, they just go on the edges.
Yeah, that's all you have to do.
And there also wasn't a shot of the down of the floor, I think. Was there?
No.
Because you don't know how, maybe it's just a bunch of dead bodies piled up on one another. So you should just fall.
I mean, I guess.
We're not getting into the specifics. I trust the story makers. This is the plot. So they get in there. The real puzzle is you gotta fit stones together. And how do they figure it out? Is Laura and her dad yell at each other a story? They literally yell at each other. When the sun comes up, and then the dad is like,
the color of life.
The color of life, and then she's like,
green.
Her head goes to the Photoshop RGB chart and goes, green.
Pretty much.
So they got that right.
Yes.
And then there's some really bad trials of passing through a skinny ladder. That's also in the game many times. You have to put Lara through a skinny ladder and see if she survives. And then they get to the queen, and guess what, motherfucker? It's not real. She's not cursed.
But not only is she not real, she is a fucking prop. Like a Halloween skeleton prop that you get close to and has motion sensors, and it just jumps out.
And there's a wind-up machine under it.
There are like cogs and gears. Like, oh, let's move the body. We found the body. So then he gets his two goons to try and lift her up, and it's not really working. And she props up, and she's sitting, and everybody's like, oh shit, it's for real. But then you look in the back, and there's some wires.
It literally goes.
Yeah. It's gears and cogs just turning together, and it's like a prank. It's like a 2,000-year-old prank, is what that is. These guys are gonna find this shit hilarious.
Tomb Raider's ending twist is a 2,000-year-old Japanese meme.
Pretty much.
That is the ending of Tomb Raider. Back in Yamatai in those days, they probably had drawings of each other pulling the tomb up with reaction faces on them.
Yeah, they'd sit in at funerals and everybody's all sad and the body just props up.
It's like, ah!
And then they're like, oh, she's not really dead, but then she actually is. And they're like, oh, you got me.
You got me, bro. Now I'm gonna stone you to death.
Pretty much. So they do another funeral and that happens again.
God, they're the pranksters of Yamatai. That's the sequel.
Absolutely.
Lara Croft, the pranksters.
Creators of Bully. Come out and do this, please.
From the studio that gave you Bridesmaids.
Oh my god.
And the issue is then it gets even stupider, because that wasn't stupid enough. She is cursed, but with the super plague?
It's like a zombie plague.
It's like a Resident Evil thing.
Pretty much.
Like, you turn into a Resident Evil 7 monster, the one that's made of goo and shit.
Yeah.
You turn into that if you touch her. So guess what? The goons get infected. And then we have to watch that bullshit happen.
Right.
And the entire time, at the end of it, you even asked me, you're like, what is that disease? What is that disease that transmits through...
Touch?
And activates immediately?
What is this?
They never... Because Laura... First of all, Laura has to tell you the twist. Laura literally sits there and she's like, these drawings, she didn't get prisoned. She came here on purpose. She's sick! And then just like, there's a guitar solo. She's like, not that kind of sick. So then Volvo is like, bullshit, you little fucking no. He might as well be saying it in that voice.
Yeah.
Volvo goes, no, she's sick. She has a disease.
You could like resume the entire movie with his character like that.
Look at me, I'm a queen with a black plague.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he takes a finger. He's like, I got it. and then you have to have the awful ending. This is what I'll promise you. I think you'll agree. During the last 30 minutes of Tomb Raider, you will be bored.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
You'll just get bored. You'll just sit there and be like, oh, fuck. Like, okay. Alright.
Like, you know what's happening. Like, and it's not fun when you can telegraph what's going on. Yeah. It's like the equivalent of, like, recording the Super Bowl, but then someone tells you the score. The fuck's the point?
It's like during the Super Bowl, and during the last 10 minutes, a dude in the corner has a graph that goes, this happens and this happens, while you're watching it, and you're like, dude, don't
Come on, man.
I'm watching it now. It's like, no. Speaking of unnecessary sequences of explaining everything, we're getting to the end of the movie. And then, I know we're doing this backwards, but we'll do the ending, the proper ending, and then we'll flip back to the beginning because we didn't discuss in depth that fucking beginning. I think both Brandon and I were traumatized by that beginning.
Oh, shit, okay.
Okay, so the ending of the movie is she comes back from Yamatai. I won't spoil who dies, but... And she gets back to London. She signs the papers because she's like, whatever. Literally whatever. She goes...
Pretty much, yeah.
Some old guy gives her a tome of company names. Because the internet apparently in London is just bad. You can't have a database of...
Right.
Turns out Lara Croft owns all these companies. And who's one of the companies she owns? The company that went to steal the tomb.
God.
And at that point, you think, oh, okay, so the movie is going to end here with a cliffhanger of what's going to happen after. No, the movie does not think you're that smart.
No, oh yeah, you're right. That was funny.
The movie has to then proceed by going, okay, so Brandon, can you just imagine what the movie is telling you by the montage at the end? Just do all the connections.
Okay, so, normally in a good movie, they're gonna, like, lead you towards something, and they're gonna let you put it together, and you're gonna be like, oh, that person was that the whole time. Oh my god! Okay, no. Literally what they're telling you is that, hey, listen, fuckhead, you don't understand a thing of the incredible genius that we have written here. You don't know shit about the genius you've just witnessed for the last 2 hours.
Nope.
Here, take my hand, clasp it into mine, and let me drag you through my fucking insane person's, like, thread.
Conspiracy theory board.
And let me explain to you everything.
Well, in the background, you just go like, okay, so the villain of is connected in the background. You just and you're just like, I don't need the fucking background of World War II to get that everything's connected. We're good.
Right.
But no, it continues because then it goes to flashback again of the name of the. And at that point, I said, the movie's just slapping me in the face at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's spitting on you going, here you go, you fucking idiot, you fucking moron.
It's like explaining a joke after you said it, you already got it.
It's like, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Now listen, the door is the metaphor for you leaving, and then there's going to be like a thing of you, we're not happy about you being here. That's what it felt like. It's just someone sitting there going, you fucking idiot, do you know?
And the entire time you're like, yes, I got it.
No, but it continues. And then it has to go through the worst part, which is, during the entire story, the person who takes care of Lara, because her dad is dead, is this woman called Anna Miller, and she looks like a Bond villain.
Yep.
And guess what? She is a villain. What a fucking surprise. They had to have a photo of her in a shady alley at the end for you to really get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we get through that mess. At that point, I'm like, it's done at least. At least, no. No, motherfucker. No, you think we done? No. Because guess what? We paid a lot to license Lara Croft. We're going to license the whole fucking thing. You're going to watch Nick Frost playing a pawn shop owner sell Lara Croft the 2 signature guns she has, and you're going to watch her pose as Lara Croft at the end with the braid, and you're going to applaud at the end of this fucking movie. You're going to applaud, you fucking dancing monkey. Dance for me, monkey.
It is what happened.
And I think it ruined the entire experience.
Yeah.
And we texted each other. I said I fucking hate Hollywood, and you said I agree. I fucking hate Hollywood.
Like, they kick you until you're down on the ground. Like, they slap you with the exposition. They kick you. You're down on the ground. You're begging for them to stop.
You're bleeding out.
And then they leave, and you're like, it's over. The credits are rolling. The credits stop, and they run back, and they spit in your face, and then they go away for good. That's what this entire experience was.
It just...
It's like if the dudes who wrote this movie saw the fax machine scene, no, the copy machine scene from Office Space, and they're like, we should just make a movie that replicates this entire feeling.
It's like this movie desperately wanted to be Indiana Jones, and it really tried its best, and it had a legacy of really bad Lara Croft movies, but had a style. Those movies it wasn't a good style. It was mid 2000s, so it was a really cringy style, but it had a style. It had an attitude about it. Lara Croft, Angelina Jolie as Lara Croft, the entire time felt like a confident ass bitch.
You can make reasons as to why you kind of enjoyed it.
Exactly. This movie felt like a slog. And it's the worst type of slog because you didn't realize it was a slog until the fucking end, where they literally take you by the throat, just choke you out and go, "Did you like it, you bitch? Did you like it?" And then they drop you on the ground and you go, "Yes, I really enjoyed it." "No, did you fucking no?" At this point, you're on the ground going, "I fucking get it. I love Lara. I love her." And he goes, "Good. You better." And
well, I can't really top that, really.
So 6 out of 10. No, I don't know if I can rate this movie. Brandon's better at this. I feel like you're better at quantifying how you feel into a number.
Oh, God.
Because you said 50 was generous, so I want to know what...
50 is a little generous. 3?
I feel like a 3 is pretty accurate about this movie.
3 out of 10?
3 out of 10, and again, I think that 3 is really the 3 fight scenes that you get, because the rest of the movie feels really just like a slap in the face. And I'll end this by saying that because we're getting pretty close to just finish talking about this, because we don't, because we have to go through the beginning for 1 second, because the beginning is a nightmare on its own. But I just want to say that if you enjoyed any part of this movie, if you felt like any part, like the action scenes, or I don't know, the way Lara Croft is as a character, you found, please play the video game and enjoy the fuck out of it. It's a very, very cinematic game that clearly just knows what it is. It has such great immersion into the story, because you feel like you are helping somebody, because there's more than one disposable character. The villains are varied and different. If you liked any aspect of this movie, please try the video game. It's way better than this. And honestly, I feel like there's one positive of this movie, is that I feel like anyone who watched this and felt any kind of positive feeling about it will get into the video game.
Right.
Yeah. So after that positive note, we're just going to talk a little bit about the beginning, because the beginning of the movie, I would describe as them trying to convince you that Lara Croft is cool.
Wait.
I think the beginning of this movie tries to convince you that Lara Croft is cool.
Oh.
And different. I'll say that.
Yeah, I guess.
This movie, at the beginning, I think, tries to convince you, this isn't your mom's Lara Croft, you fucking bitch. You're not
she does MMA.
You're not my real mom. Lara Croft. You're not Lara Croft is my mom now. She does MMA.
Oh shit! And she's not good at it.
That's what, Brandon. You have a very good opinion about the beginning scene where she what happens during the fight scene in the MMA ring. So describe what happens. And
so
then, yeah,
she's getting her ass kicked
royally
by this woman who should have been on the island. You know, she would have helped out greatly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's eating punches left and right to the face. Right? No headgear, no nothing.
Yeah.
Alright?
Some short shorts and a dream.
And, goddamn right. And she gets her ass kicked so hard that the girl she's fighting puts her into a rear naked choke. And she doesn't want to tap out, but her coaches are like, dude, you're getting your ass kicked, just tap out, there's no point. And it's teetering on is she gonna be resilient enough to just let herself pass out because she's that tough?
Yeah.
Or is she gonna tap out? And she does tap out.
Because she's that kind of Croft.
Oh no. We're gonna get to that after. So, cut to her in the locker room right after getting her ass handed to her. No signs of actually being in a fight at all.
Yeah.
No pain, she didn't laugh or smile and she was like, oh, at the very least. She flinches because it hurts.
The only sign is that she unwraps her hands and it looks like she fought somebody. She had wraps on her hands.
Right.
But
she bites into an apple. I'm sorry, but if anyone ever got punched in the jaw
that many times
trying to eat an apple
would hurt
greatly.
Yeah. So this is the introduction to Lara, by the way. This is how you're introduced to her.
Oh, but you thought her being cool was topped off by her being an MMA fighter? Or at least trying to? No, it's not. You know what? She's a fucking Foodora delivery person. Alright? Because fuck what you know. Fuck what you know.
Do you fuck with the Foodora streets?
Yo, she's like Meals on Wheels. Or Babes on Blades.
Babes on Blades.
Fucking patent that shit.
Ugh.
Babes on Blades trademark.
Yeah. She's a fucking Foodora delivery. Guess what? The one character thing you get out of it is that the people who make the food she's delivering, one of the boys has a crush on her.
He does, and he's kind of cute about it. And
yeah.
The family's all like, "Oh, she left without you asking her out." And I was like, "Oh, when they cut back to her being back in London, is she gonna deliver for them again?" And he's gonna finally ask her out, and she's gonna say some Lara Croft shit.
No, because nobody in this movie ever follows up on their character traits.
No, there's no payoff. There's no payoff to him feeling those feelings towards her.
Then the worst part of this, the first thing that you realize that this movie's not going to be good is when she delivers the food to the place she's supposed to, and then ends up in what I assume is just Otaku-con.
What?
It's just a bunch of nerds in a barnyard.
Oh, no. That's implied that she already delivered the food. She ends up at, the main hub where all the, Babes on Blades are.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
It's not actually called that. It's funny to me.
No, they own babesonblades.com. All of them are out there doing nerd shit.
So, they're hanging out. This is, the delivery, hub. It's like Taxi starring Danny DeVito. It's the same thing. You wait, and you get a call, and hey, you know the streets better? You go do that. And whatever.
Yeah, because they're cool kids who live on the edge of life, They're, really cool. And you know what they do that's really cool is that they race on bicycles.
By the way, I used to work, I can officially say that I used to work at a place that dealt with Foodora delivery people.
Uh-huh. And they're all like Lara?
Oh. They all look like they want to die.
That makes...
They don't give two shits. Hey, how are you? Just give me the fucking food.
Just give me the fucking food because this is minimum wage and I will die.
Listen, I need to pay my bills.
Yeah.
I don't care about you being nice to me. Just give me the food and let me go.
So listen, you would know that then that person goes home and has a bike race in which I can officially say Laura is part of the furry community now. So
she attaches a foxtail to her back.
Congratulations to the furry community. I know you guys are really, aiming for that representation.
You made it.
I'm glad you made it into the Tomb Raider movie. The entire point of the beginning is that she goes to race because she gets, I think it was 500 pounds? I don't know.
600?
The UK has weird measurements of money. You guys measure your money in pounds. It's very weird. So she's going to win some money because guess what? She's poor, in case you forgot. Because also, after she gets into the fight in the MMA shit, the owner has to come out and say, Laura, you are a poor person. You are not paying your bills to the gym. And Laura says, okay, has no reaction to it other than taking his apple. And I think, if you really want to analyze this movie, that was a representation of Laura being the modern day Robin Hood, taking the apple from the rich to give back to the people. Which is herself, which is very feminist of her. Anyway, so she goes to the furry convention, gets into the bike race, and she's gonna be the fox because you're gonna have to catch her. And then gets into a car accident because she thought she saw her dad. She's so funny to me. Not every white man is your dad, Laura. So then she gets into a car accident. Forgive me if I'm wrong. You had a little bit of not a real car accident, but you got bumped into by a car? Yeah. And your entire side was fucked? Yeah. Laura got front-ended. The entire thing was on her.
Like, she got plastered to the windshield.
She should be dead.
At the very least. At least, a couple ribs broken, your leg, whiplash, you have a concussion.
So, I want to know if that was the first intention of the movie to tell you Laura is invincible. Because later on in the movie, she gets something impaled in her stomach. Which is kind of gruesome. It was actually kind of cool to see her, have to deal with that. Because it was, it impaled her, she had to, breathe through it and, try to take it out. And, in the game, it's way cooler because she takes it out and then cauterizes the wound with an arrow. So
that's awesome. She's
kind of an awesome person for that. But, can't have that one. The burn victim budget is down this year. So she gets plowed into by a car, and then this scene then leads into the rest of the movie. But I just wanted to mention that the beginning of this movie is just the epitome of executives thinking, what is cool right now? What would a cool 20-year-old woman be into? And it's food delivery, fights, and bike races? It's also the worst soundtrack ever. Yeah. Because she's riding her bike and in the background there's some heavy fucking trap rap going on.
British rap.
British too, because it just sounds like your butler's angry at you. And it just really, everything about it is awful. And then the movie tries to have a tone for the rest of the movie that's way different, I think, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The beginning of the movie feels like, oh, she's so quirky, she's so different. But then the minute she gets into her dad's shit, she's like, oh.
It has nothing to do, it carries no bearings to who she is as a person later on in the movie.
Yes, because it's incredibly useless, just like this entire movie. Right. I think that about wraps it up.
Oh, before we leave.
Yes.
Before we wrap up this segment, I'd like to at least say that I was wrong that there wasn't an arc for any character in the movie.
No, this is...
Daniel Wu has an arc. Yeah? So as she points out before they leave on their trip, he's an alcoholic, he's a gambler, he's got many vices. Mm-hmm. And he also expresses his interest in her at one point. Kind of, sort of. Sure. Half. Okay. Doesn't he?
Kind of, but...
It's, weird, and she turns him down, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
He goes on with, a man with who seems to have addictions. He goes on this trip without suffering any withdrawals, or suffering any depression, or self-destruction.
Alcoholism, cured.
Gambling, cured. Every single thing. Because he met Lara, and they went on this trip and this adventure. And you know what? God damn it. I don't need to be an alcoholic anymore. Like, what the fuck?
You know what?
She cured him of everything.
You know when Tomb Raidering just cures all of your vices? You know that?
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I hate when that happens because it just ruins my day. I'm like, God, why did I raid this tomb?
I could have been drinking.
I'm not addicted to meth anymore.
At least.
Meth head, more like tomb head. Anyway, so... that is right. Congratulations to Daniel Wu for having a character arc.
And battling addiction. You give hope to everybody.
Okay, so... go see it, I guess. I don't know. Go see it on Tuesday. It's worth kind of paying the money on a Tuesday if you have a day to lose and you have nothing going on that day and you think, okay, I'm going to go see some people getting punched. Because there is some of that. Just don't think about it at all.
Nah.
It's not worth it.
No.
So, thank you for listening, everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
We really had fun doing this because we had a lot to say about Tomb Raider. And at the end, really, we might all be that kind of Croft.
That's sad. Wait. Don't you touch a single dial. I got some more to say.
Alright, come on, give it to me.
So I'm sitting in my room after watching this movie.
Basking in it.
Right, yeah, just marinating in the whole experience of it all. And I want to look up the production value of this movie. I want to look up its reception and stuff like that. I looked up the other movies. So, I mean, Facebook does this thing, or I think just the internet does this thing where it looks at what you've been watching recently or what you've been searching.
Okay.
And just gives you ads towards that.
Okay.
Regarding that subject you've been looking up.
Because they think that you've had a fun time looking all that up.
Absolutely. So here I am, doing my 10-minute refresh of my Facebook newsfeed.
Yes.
See what's going on. And, bam! Big bold letters. Little video with loud-ass music. Just blasting. And it's Tomb Raider. #1 movie in the world. But that's the only... And, like, that just takes the entire fucking screen. And there's the background of her, like, doing badass, like, jumping shit.
Yeah, just doing parkour.
But, no. Forget Lara's parkour. #1 movie in the world. And that's when I had a question. An existential crisis, more so. What? Like,
It's
#1 movie in the world at what?
in everything.
But I don't understand. Like, you could say that about anything. Like, that doesn't cement anything. It's the #1 movie at having the worst reviews in the month? Like, I don't...
Listen, there's ways you can bend the question to make it fit because Lara Croft is the #1 movie in the world that has a main character named Lara Croft that is a Tomb Raider that also has a dad missing. So, can you argue with that one?
Not at all. But
Right.
that's my point. Like, they're just yelling in your face, #1 movie in the world. Like, am I supposed to be impressed?
Oh, completely. Because you know when you walk downtown sometimes and a dude comes up in your face with a megaphone and yells at you, I am the #1 hobo in the world.
Well, like, depending on the factors that he hasn't been bringing up yet, you don't know that he's not lying.
So that's why I think it's okay for us to say that we have the #1 podcast in the world.
At this point, we are the #1 podcast in the world.
We're not going to say why.
No, of course not.
Because it's not needed. Because we are the #1 podcast in the world.
#1 podcast in the world at being done in my living room?
That's right.
I think yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
#1 podcast in the world and having a cat that breeds a lot during it.
Oh, I
That's
think
not
it's
true.
debatable.
There might be another cat podcast.
Yeah, I think we're getting. We're not getting the cat
guys,
audience.
please let us beat the cat podcast. The cat podcast people. We really want to because
It's an audience and a market we really want to tap into.
yeah, we want to tap into that. That's why huge fans of Catwoman. #1 podcast in the world. Thank you for listening to it. Once again, just to repeat, #1
#1. We're
#1 in the world. And If anyone wants to debate that,
I'll fight you.
We will definitely fight you.
Definitely.
The Tomb Raider Fight Club. We fight exclusively MMA style, and we tap out extremely early because we're giant pussies.
Absolutely.
But again, number one mentioning MMA fights podcast in the world.
Oh, that's another tough market.
Yeah, tough market, but we're beating it.
We're gonna get there.
Thank you for listening. We don't know what the next episode is gonna be about.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, and you'll figure it out at the same time, too.
Yeah, definitely. We've had a lot of fun this time. I really enjoyed this, even though we both hate the Tomb Raider movie.
Still really angry.
The number one world movie ever. Fuck. I love pod racing, but also I am the first person. I am the number one podcast person mentioning pod racing on a podcast.
I don't know about that either.
Guys,
Number one.
guys,
Number one.
guys,
Number one.
guys,
Number one.